Hey y'all, welcome back to More Advanced Mondays, the Technique of the Week series. Today we're going to be talking about conflict resolution. Really quick, we're going to do some revamped type check-ins. Our lesson will actually not include the plan, prepare, and peacefully part slide. That was kind of lame, so I took it out. But then we'll do a revamped quiz and best ways to contact me. So quick check-ins. The way I've decided to do these from now on is to include a feel-good story. So from yesterday, we did a really cool FaceTime with my grandma, who is 97 years old, and she hasn't been able to leave her assisted living facility, and she's going a little bit stir crazy. But we were able to get on FaceTime with her and see her, and it was really fun. A media review, so this is going to be anything like TV shows, movies, apps, games, whatever it needs to be. And if you guys have some that you want to send in, please do so. The one I'm going to review is called Threes. This is a ridiculously addictive game that I got on my iPad. And all you do is combine ones and twos to make threes, 3 and 3 to make 6, 6 and 6. I don't know what it is about it that's so addictive, but I've spent way too much time playing it in these last couple weeks. And food of the day. Yesterday I made Italian breadsticks from scratch, and they were delicious. It was a really pretty simple recipe: yeast, sugar, water, flour, salt, a little bit of olive oil, and then you let them rise for a while. Cut them into breadsticks, and then brush the top of them with butter and garlic salt. Super simple, but so delicious. So on our conflict resolution, quick calming strategies come first. Starting or continuing a conflict while you're upset is a really great way to get even more upset. And our brains do this really fun thing when we're upset is we don't really use our entire brain. We sort of revert to a more reptilian part of our brain where it's really just only going to increase that conflict, and we're not really going to be able to think clearly and find the right solutions. So everyone needs to be mellow in order for us to have a productive dialogue. Some things that we can do is take some deep breaths. That should be a first go-to. Go for a walk. Get a drink of cold water. Sometimes that cold water can really trigger us to relax a little bit easier. That sensation serves as a little bit of a reset for us. We want to relax our body. So a lot of times we have tension in our fists or in our face or in our shoulders. So we want to be able to relax our body, really soften our tone. The tone of voice makes a big difference when we're communicating with other people, because any irritation, any bit of frustration that we are experiencing is going to come through in the tone of our voice. And then also with our voice, we want to lower it. It's really hard to maintain an argument when the other person is being really quiet. Eventually people will sort of come down to that same level. Lowering our voice can serve to be a really good calming strategy. And you really want to worry about calming yourself down and waiting for others. It doesn't really work to try to tell someone else to calm down. Usually if you tell someone, hey, calm down, that's the last thing that they're going to do. So the best thing to do is just worry about calming you down first and then waiting for the other person to get calm. And if they're not calm, keep waiting. It doesn't serve anybody any benefit to engage in a dialogue when we're really escalated. And then the last thing I've just got, find a quiet place where you can sit down. It's very intimidating to have a conversation when people are standing up. Almost guaranteed there's going to be a size difference. Someone's going to be taller, someone's going to be larger. Having those conversations when someone has a power differential makes it that much more intimidating and that much less productive. So trying to find a quiet place where we can sit down and hash things out is really going to be a good way to go. Picking your battles. I don't know. There's a lot of movie references in this PowerPoint, but on the left we see Snowball, who was a villain from Secret Life of Pets, and he kind of wanted to pick a fight with just about anybody. He was very willing and ready to pick a fight or start a fight. On the other side, we have got Treebeard, whose long name I can't remember, but he was very reluctant to get involved in an altercation when it was needed. So finding the right time to pick a battle can be really critical. Not everything needs to be a conflict, and you might think to yourself, the right way out might be to let it go. What happens if I drop this? Why is this so important to me? Or what could possibly change? So if you're in a conflict or a battle that no matter how hard you fight, nothing's going to change, what's really the point of fighting? So I don't know if you guys saw, but on one of my earlier slides, there were people having a tug of war. Sometimes what we need to do is just drop the rope. So this is kind of hard to make out, so I'll read it off the slide to you. Sometimes it can be hard to tell the difference between setting firm limits and power struggles. So remember, a power struggle is when an emotion is inserted into a limit being firmly held. A limit is a fact, it has no emotion. A power struggle is like a tug of war. It can be a struggle without two people pulling. It cannot be a struggle without two people pulling. So if you're in a power struggle or if you're in this conflict, sometimes the best thing you can do is just drop the rope. And then I've got spend some time in their mind. This is kind of a way to take their perspective or build some empathy for why they might be, the other person or people might be having this conflict. Again, you can't have a conflict with just one person. So it takes two to have this conflict. So we want to figure out what their side of the story is. We're really, really good and really, really fast at knowing what our side of the story is and how we feel. But if we're not able to think about it from their point of view, we're not going to be able to solve the conflict as effectively. So spend a little less effort thinking about you and more effort thinking about them. And this is hard. I initially had titled this slide, See Through Their Eyes or Take Their Perspective, but it's more than just seeing through their eyes. It's everything. We want to try to really see the world from their perspective in so many more ways than just vision. So walking in their shoes, what do they feel? Breathing in that same air, listening to what they hear. Everyone hears things differently, right? You could listen to the same screencast that I'm doing and hear two different things based on your perspective or your experiences. So this is really hard to do, but just the best you can, try to feel their emotions as your own. And I've got the little cartoon up there. These guys are both right. It's just their different perspectives. The O or the circle is saying it's a 9, and then the I is saying it's a 6. They're both right. That's just their different perspective. So sometimes taking that perspective can solve that conflict or mitigate that battle without having to go any further than that. And then I've talked to a few different classes about this. This is something that I'm really passionate about, minimizing differences and maximizing similarities. When it's first just looking at us and them, we can seem completely different. We're absolutely not the same in any way. But the more we look at it, we are genetically similar to each other at a rate of about 99%. Some people say 99.9. I think it's a little bit lower than that, but very, very similar genetically. We also share most major life experiences. We were all born, we're all humans, we all need to eat, drink, and feel loved. We have largely similar goals and desires. We all want, good things. We all want, to be successful. We want to be valued. And we hope for relatively positive futures and outcomes. So we're all a lot more similar than we might look out to be at first glance. And when we focus on what makes us the same, when we maximize those similarities, we are able to see a broader picture or a grand scheme, and little tiny nitpicky fights no longer mean as much. We're able to take that alternate perspective of thinking about this whole society and then the other person as a human being just like us. And that can really help us build empathy with the other person. So by just maximizing those similarities and trying to forget some of the differences, we're able to really solve a lot of conflicts from a really good place. And I've got a little bit of a Salt Lake City throw in here with High School Musical. We're all in this together. That is it for the lesson. I'm no longer doing a quiz because I realize that people probably aren't doing it, or I've got no way to see if you got the answers right. So I'm doing challenges now. So today's challenge is to think about your day, yourself, your family, or your home. What is one thing you're grateful for? Be as specific as you can be. There's no wrong answers. Just set your phone for 1 minute and think about one of those things that you're very grateful for. Close your eyes and just sort of dwell and sit with something that you have extreme gratitude for. It could be It could be Mountain Dew. It could be something that simple. It could be a new pair of glasses. Just something that you find that makes you feel grateful. Just think about that for about a minute. And last but not least, best ways to contact me. The only one that has changed here is this week I am now living in the Dagobah system. If you've got an X-Wing, feel free to head on out to my small hut. Take care, y'all.